We're going to take a look at the top comic book sales on eBay for May 2024. Some interesting sales and some strong sales. Let's take a look at these books that most of us can never afford. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description below for links to my eBay store, my email, my whatnot, my Instagram, all that good stuff. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 eBay sales for comic books for the month of May 2024. And there are some comparisons we can make. There are some interestingly strong sales, and number one, I think, is a bit of a surprise. So let's dig into it. Number 10 is a high grade, and I'm talking high grade, Silver Age DC key. It is Batman 181 in a CGC 9.4. Now, I've talked about this seller before, Blizzard Comics. They have some great books. And I actually found, I think they buy stuff, they get it slabbed. I found a book that they've been trying to sell. They bought, it might have made the list in April. It was Gobbledygook 1 and 2 raw. And they're selling Gobbledygook 1 and 2 graded. There was a sale. I guess the listing ended at $20,000, and then they have it up again for, I think, $22,500. So, but they have their auctions come up on Sundays and Mondays, prime time for eBay, but they have good books. That's what I'm going to say, and this is one of them. I mean, this book in a 9.4 is so difficult to find. I mean, it is off-white to white, but who cares? To not get the color rub, I mean, look at that. That's just a gorgeous book. Now, it did have a best offer accepted. It was listed for $18,500, and it sold for a total of $15,725. We can see that sale is holding fairly strong. It's in line with the most recent sale, although down about $1,000 from the $16,979 in March. But there was a sale for $10,000 last year. So this is up quite a bit over that. Oh, actually 2020, this book in this grade hasn't sold since then. Again, these books don't sell too often. Twin Cities Pedigree back in 2011, $9,000 for a 9.2. So this is the kind of book that someone who wants this book in this grade and has the money to spend on it, you're not going to find it too often in this higher grade. Let's take a look at number 9. And number 9 is a copy of Fantastic Four number 1, CGC 4.0, cream to off-white pages, that sold for the full asking price of $17,000. 4.0, really solid grade for this key. Now, I'm looking at this book. This has not been cleaned. Is this going to be a CPR candidate? I mean, the first thing is that staple looks okay, but there is tearing around the staple. Maybe that's why it wasn't cleaned and pressed. This looks like it was not cleaned and pressed. And I'm wondering if someone who thinks they can, maybe I would be nervous to do this with a $17,000 comic book, that maybe can, you know, and I don't know if it's the darkness of the picture, to be honest with you. It was encapsulated a while ago to have a first digit of 2. So that might be something that somebody's considering. Let's take a look at where this stands in the market. An uptick, right? Last sale in March was $15,000. Last year, the sales ranged in the $18,000 to $19,000 range. So 17 is a little bit down from last year. Still on a bit of a course correction despite the movie spec. But it sold for $17,000. There was a sale in March of a 4.5 for $16,800. So it is up from there. But in January, of 3.5 sold for $24,000. Go figure. Is this a candidate for CPR? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you think. I mean, is that dirt that can be removed up there? I think the picture is not the best. I'll be honest with you. Not the best picture I've ever seen. So anyway, let's take a look and move on to number 8. And number 8 is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 first print CGC 9.2. It was listed for $22,400. The offer accepted was $17,500. And yeah, the first prints don't come along too often. These obviously are bigger. They're in these magazine size cases. This looks like it's the 4.2. That might be the newer case. I'm not sure. Kind of looks a little, the label looks a little bit better. I think this might be the new case. So this in a 9.2 is obviously down from the peak, but in line with sales over the last 2 years. I mean, this is a book in 2021 went bananas, up to mid 30s, and it's now selling for about half of that. 9.4s for 24, and an 8.5 or 9.0 just sold for 19.3. So this looks like a pretty decent deal. I think a plus on this from the buyer's perspective is getting the new case, which also probably means they're not really thinking of this as a CPR candidate. And it's hard to tell. I mean, this black, I guess down there, 9.92 is pretty strong for this book. Let's take a look at, now we're going to go to number 7 on the list. And this is a unique one. This is Amazing Spider-Man #1 from 2014 in a CGC 9.8 white pages, a signature series, signed and I guess noted. It's not remarked, but with the comment from Stan Lee, with great power comes great responsibility. How much is a Stan Lee signature worth? They were asking $75,000 on this. They did not get $75,000, but they did get $20,000 for this comic book. I don't know. That seems really high to me. I didn't even look at this in GPA. Let's take a look in GPA at this one, because I was just like, it's a signature. It's unique. I mean, is basically, what would this book be in a CGC 9.8 blue label? It's $100. So is Stan Lee's signature and that note on it worth $20,000? I think that's the question one has to ask oneself. I don't know. And there is no, I don't see this as a comp, but it did come up. I mean, look, all these different variations. I'm not saying, I mean, look at this book. It's selling 9.8s, not even $100. $20,000 for the Stan Lee signature. Eesh, that seems crazy to me. I mean, it was crazy they're asking $75,000, and what's even crazier is they got 20. A one of a kind, maybe. I don't know, and they charge $16 shipping. Not for nothing, but you sell a book for $20,000. Maybe you can eat the shipping. I'm just saying. Man, I don't understand this sale at all, because it did come up that this was, I use the site that I use is 130point.com. And if you just enter the item, actually I have it up here, but we see it there. Best offer accepted price, $20,000. I didn't count the number of zeros. I'm at a loss, total loss. Let me know in the comments below if you think that this sale is A, for real, and B, at all sane. That being said, let's move on to a big DC key, and that showcase #4, the beginning of the Silver Age, first appearance of Barry Allen Flash in a CGC 3.5, cream to off-white pages. Yeah, it looks like I don't know if anything could be better with that. I mean, maybe some dirt on the back cover. Could that be? I mean, yeah, that could be cleaned and pressed, I would imagine. But when you clean and press a book this old, how strong is the spine? How strong is the book attached to the staples? That's always a question. Are you risking damage? And what is the upside? So what do we have this listing at? I don't think it was full asking price. Oh, no, they did get full asking price of $21,000. And you can see that's a pretty strong sale. There was one in February for $24,000, $3,000 less. That $24,000 was pretty strong. And it's interesting, 4.5 sold for 31, so it's not out of line there. And a 3.0 just sold for 13.8. So it's right in the middle there, not out of line with the grades either up or down. But what I find interesting here, and especially looking at the trend line here, I mean, this is a book that the movie did not do well. The TV show's been canceled. There's been no indication from James Gunn of having a Flash in the new DCEU, although I imagine he will at some point. He hasn't had a problem recasting Superman, for instance. Ezra Miller, I don't think will come back as the Flash. So it's surprising this book, and I don't know what it's been doing in other grades. Let's take like a 2.0, which is a more affordable copy, more affordable at $10,000. A downtick, but not a massive one. So it's down. I mean, the 2.5, it's down, but not down what you'd expect it to be down, considering what often happens after movies come out. Let's go to number 5. And number 5 is a copy of Incredible Hulk #1 in a CGC 4.0 old label. This is a Gen 2 label, off-white to white pages. It was sold in Britain. They were asking $18,999.99. And it's sold under that. The conversion of the sale to dollars is about $22,255. Is this an upgrade? You get this through that's something. And it is. Here's the interesting thing. It's a UK edition. So it has the 9D and the 1 without. So that's interesting. There are folks who stay away from this big stain up here. This, if I were going to try to crack this out, that scares me. Now, generally speaking, these UK price variants sell for less. So if we look at a 4.0, there's a UK variant. They don't. Oh, no, I'm sorry. UK variant would be below this. Yeah, it says 12.6 for January. So this is up quite a bit from that. So this is a pretty strong sale. Even I don't know why. I have a theory. I don't know why it isn't recorded in GP analysis. There was an April sale for $21,600. So this is about $1,000 more than that. Not quite $600 more. One of the things is what may have harmed this, both in the search, is not being able to spell incredible. They also didn't know that like banner should be capitalized. Whatever. So that might be why it wasn't pulled in to GP analysis as a sale. I think it's a strong sale considering that it is a UK price variant, and those have been selling for less. Now, one thing that's often said about these UK price variants, because they're not reprints, my understanding is they're printed at the same time. They just changed the plate here for the number and here for the price. But they were maybe printed first because these books had to be printed and then shipped out to the UK. Often the color strike, look, and this is a bad picture, but look at the deep colors on this cover. And that's something you sometimes get with these UK price variants that, earlier in the print run, that the colors are stronger. I mean, I don't think the picture that the seller took completely does this justice. But when you take a little bit closer look. Those are some pretty nice colors. This was probably something that looks really nice in hand. Is it worth cracking? This is, I mean, look at the first digit on the cert number is 0. Is this something somebody might crack out and look to CPR? I would be really wary, but that's just me. Let's go to number 4. Number 4, Amazing Spider-Man number 1. In a CGC 6.5 off-white to white, it was listed for $30,000, and it sold for a 10% discount, $27,000. Just a couple picks here. A more recent sale. For these more recent ones, you can... This looks pretty solid. I mean, look at that spine. That's really nice there. Wow, the spine is really nice. There is a little bit of Marvel chipping here. Right? Oh, a lot of it, actually. There's a big... That's what's going to hold you down. But a really nice presenting book for 6.5. I imagine that's what the grader's notes would say. Let's take a look at the cert number. We need to get it from... I'm going to write this down. 43103090002. And let's go to CGC certification number. Look up. I always get like the card grading comics verification tool. Okay. Resources certification. Okay, let's enter the number, and I want to see the grader notes because it doesn't. It is a nice looking 6.2. Marvel chipping front cover, spine stress line, small tears with creases, bottom of back cover. Now here you probably get better look. Is it down there? Bottom back cover. I don't really see small tears with creases, bottom back cover. I see that tiny little thing and that dirt. There might be some creases there, but I think it's the Marvel chipping. It's going to do it, and you can see it better. You get these high-res scans. So for more recent books, if you're shopping them, you can get high-res scans for most of them on CGC. Interestingly, I have a Hulk 181 that I just got graded, and the scans are not there when I type in the cert number. But you can see this is, I mean, the spine stress lines. Yeah, they're there. You can see there. But, I mean, that looks really solid at the staple. Some color rub there. And, you know, some Marvel chipping down at the bottom here. I think the front cover looks worse than the back. But, so, anyway, that is a really good book. Let's look at how that stacks up price-wise. So this was a 6.5. And you can see, bam, a jump up on price. This was a really strong sale. Up from $21,600 the last sale, up to $27,000 for a 6.5. 7.0 just sold for $26,400 in April. So this leapfrogged the sale in the higher grade. So, yeah, the seller had a good day on this one, I think. Let's go to number 3, and it's Uncanny X-Men number 1. CGC 7.0 Stan Lee Signature Series. It's an older one, beginning with 1 in the cert number. Stan Lee right there in the M of X-Men. And what does it say? Signed by Stan Lee, 2014. Nice looking book. Very nice. I mean, very nice looking book. 7.0. Are you kidding me? That is a beautiful book. And Ryan from Automatic Comics also talked about this color strike, right? The green here is a little light. The red in Magneto looks, you know, not as rich, and especially here. I don't know if that's fading or the way it was printed, but I'm not going to look up. I'm not going to look this one up for a reason, and it has to do with our next one on the list. What I will say is this was bought for $33,500 full asking price from My Comic Shop, and I've said this before. On eBay, if you're going to My Comic, if you see an eBay listing with My Comic Shop and they list a lot of comic books on eBay, an awful lot, look on their website. I don't know if it's every or almost every book is listed on their website cheaper. You can get it cheaper because you're not paying eBay fees. So it's interesting. List price of $83,000 is sold for $33,500. We'll get to this in a moment because I'm going to go to number 2 on the list, and it's a copy of X-Men #1 in a CGC 7.0 white pages. So the white page designation might make some difference. I don't know if it makes all the difference in the world, but it's not signed by Stan Lee, right? Nice looking book. Colors are a little bit more solid there in the reds, but it's, a lower grade. Back looks really nice. Encapsulated a while ago. First digit in the cert number is a 2. This was sold for full asking price of $40,000. Now, where does that stack up? Well, let's take a look. $40,000. Bam! Look at that uptick, right? A $40,000 sale. Now, this is what's crazy about this. Both of them are 7.0s. We talk about the Stan Lee signature on that Nothing Burger of a 2014 ASM #1, selling for $20,000. Here, somebody paid more, $40,000 compared to $33,500. They paid $6,500 more for the book without the Stan Lee signature. And I mean, they paid $40,000. Is that a record? Now, when was the last time it sold for $40,000? Back in 2022, right? It was the last time it sold for $40,000, right? A $50,000 sale in July of 2022. Peak boom. Like the 7 sales last year ranged from 20 to 27. It makes no sense to pay $40,000 for this comic book. What's going on, folks? Put on your tinfoil hats and tell me what you think. And then signed by Stan Lee. Here we see the 7.0. Oh, that didn't pop up. That sale of the 33.5, I don't see, because it was a 7.5, right? Or 7.0, I'm sorry. 7.0, yeah. 33.5. Okay. Let's take a look now at #1. And I find this sale quite interesting. Amazing Fantasy #15 in a PGX 5.0. Mind blown. PGX 5.0. Okay. Museum exhibition copy. I'm going to have to take a look at the description of this, right? Living Legacies exhibition copy. Jordan Schweitzer, Museum of Arts, 513 to 114. Steve to go graded 314. Nice tear there. 5.0. Maybe. Would you grade this a 5.0, folks? Oh, that there and that there. Look at, that's a lot of. I'm looking at this at a 4.45. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. So let's say it's a 5.0. It's a PGX 5.0. So, okay. What does the CGC 5.0 sell for? Well, the most recent sale is $43,000. This sold for $49,000, which is what it sold for in January. There was a January sale for $63,000. A 5.5 sold for $66,000. And if we drop down a grade level, $36,000, $36,000 for a 4.5. So there's always a bump, a big bump from one grade point to another. But the buyer did not get any sort of PGX discount. Blah, blah, blah. Really hit the ground. Yada, yada, yada. This particular copy hung on the wall at the University of Oregon's Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art from May 2013 and January 2014 as part of the museum's anniversary event titled Living Legacies. This exact copy was on view, and thousands have had the pleasure of viewing it. Pages are listed white, and this copy is PGX graded, yada, yada, yada. It has no Marvel chipping. And I did notice that. I didn't say anything about it, but I noticed no Marvel chipping because there was enough else wrong with it, but whatever. A really nice book for any collector of this now 60-year-old comic book, yada, 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 yada. Okay. PGX. I've heard stories of PGX horror stories. And the couple of times I've gotten a slab that's a PGX slab and cracked it out, because I guarantee you this book has to be cracked out. But I don't see, I'd see if I'm having a hard, would it get, I mean, maybe, because there's no marble chipping. Let's take a closer look once again. You have all of this. That's deep. It's a lot of spine wear and a lot of stress around that bottom staple, which makes, and this looks like a split. That looks like a spine split right there. That's got to be at least an inch, because it splits and then it tears into the book. Okay, the bottom is whatever it is. It's, a little bit of thumb creasing on the right-hand side. And then some creasing up here. And then we go to the back cover. And what concerns me in the back cover is you have a 2-inch tear right there. Right? So you're talking about like 3 total inches in tears, which to me is taking you down to 4.0. I think a spine split of an inch and then 2 inches here. I'm thinking this book, please, in the comments below, and you can take a look at this listing, right? You just go onto eBay, type in Amazing Fantasy 15 PGX 5.0. Let me know in the comments what you think about the grade of this book. I'm thinking 4, 5 at best, just with the roughness of the spine. And I'm thinking I'd be white knuckling it if I was going to attempt to press this. Now, on the plus side, the colors are good. I mean, this brown is nice and deep. The picture's not great. The colors are good, which means that when it was on display at the University of Oregon, there was no like sunlight pouring in on it for that month. The colors are deep and rich. That I think is a big plus. The back cover looks okay. It looks fairly clean, but that bothers me. So yeah, that's an Amazing Fantasy 15 PGX 5.0 for $49,000. That's it for the top 10 list. I think it's fun to look at these books and kind of wonder, well, if I won Powerball, which of these would I buy? But I'm really intrigued by that Amazing Fantasy 15 and the PGX 5.0. That usually PGX books come at a discount. And even if you're going to buy a PGX book, I think you'd have to carefully inspect at least the 2 pictures, only 2. It's slabbed, whatever. You'd have to inspect the pictures that are available to try to get an idea of the grade. And I don't think a 5.0, I think, is aspirational in terms of a crossover grade you'd get from CGC. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I really am interested in your input on this one. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Take a look at a couple of my other videos here and there. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.